Welcome back It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. Man, it feels good to be back. It's been a while since I've been live. Man, so much has happened. But I want to talk about some recent events that's going on right now in the boxing world real quick concerning the 135-pound division. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in the 135 division. So, what we got here is we got a WBC vacant. Well, how do we get a WBC vacant? Because there was a ruling made and Devin Haney was made champion in recess. And now that belt is available with a promise that this guy's going to come back down at 135, but that's not going to happen. We all know that. Church been told us that. He been told us that long time ago. So he's going to get that fight and he's going to go up. Well, we learned a whole lot of things. We learned a whole lot of things with this recent chain of events concerning Devin and Shakur. It's been messy. It's been toxic. And I don't know if we're going to be able to endure that. I do not know if we're going to be able to endure that if they ever come back and start going at it again. Because it was a slander campaign. What I deducted from it was they basically had a silent agreement. They already knew they wasn't going to fight anytime soon. Shakur moved up because he found a challenge, and growing and wanting to move up, couldn't make the weight. So there's an opportunity where they both are in the same division. And he said, well, shoot, I'm not just going to stand around. I'm going to get hot. You know, he fought Yoshino, hopped in the ring, said he wanted Devin, hopped in the ring after Devin's fight. Devin said, I'm not in no rush to go fight no Shakur. Shakur said, hey, you can't tell me what I'm worth. There's all types of talks about offers. The math on the offers don't add up to me. The math on the offers, first they said 8, then it was 5 to 8. I'm like, okay, so if it was 8, the whole pile was 32. That means Devin was going to get 24. And online, because I don't really be watching, but since it's such a big, large talking point, but online they say that Loma had made 3 and Devin had made 4. Now I know on the back end and whatever you add on the back end or whatever, that's the bold print that they're saying online. They sold 150K at $60 a wop, made about 9 mil. 7 of that was to the fighter's purse. You got the promotional companies and you got the network. So to say that Shakur was going to get 5, anywhere from 5 to 8, which would make the pot for Devin anywhere between 20 and 32 mil, which means he would have got anywhere between 15 and 24 mil. And Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford just got 25 a piece. I don't know what back end and all this other stuff, you know, all that other stuff, the garnishes, the stuff we'll never know about, truly know about. But the bold print says that. So that means Devin was going to stand to get that, and whatever he had to do with the profits and who he had to pay and all that. I mean, that's just not realistic to me. That's just not realistic to me. But he said, I'm going up to 140. Gotta respect that he's gonna go fight Regis. Gotta respect that he's gonna go fight Regis. I think that they're judging Regis on a performance that it might have been a bad night. Who knows? That Regis ain't nobody you just want to run up on unprepared, and he is a formidable champion. Very tough customer. And Regis got plans on knocking Devin Haney out. So he got business, even though Regis still sitting around twiddling his thumbs wondering what's going on. I'm hearing that some other fights that already got inked and they just waiting on time, but both parties just signed. It's just real odd that the Lord Devin Haney, once again, just like the concessions made for Loma, stalling out for more money and perks and whatever. They trying to say it's venue and this and this and that. I'm like, I don't know. It's just a lot of fishy business. But I believe that this right here, this WBC ruling where Shakur and Frank Martin is fighting for a vacant, I believe that this is going to restore order to the 135-pound division. This is the beginning of restoring order, man. You gotta think it was real chaotic, man. Teofimo go get Comey, Lemon go get that other belt. They come together. Kambosos beat T.O. Devin come beat Kambosos twice. Then he go circle back and they fight Loma. He won that by the hair on his chinny chin chin and body work. And just start showing out. And they say every time somebody got all of them belts, that's why I'm kind of glad Shakur didn't get all of them belts at once. For one, he got to say he fought somebody to get it, so you won't fall victim to that. So he fought somebody to get that belt. He fought somebody with a name because Frank Martin is a name. He's more than formidable. Frank Martin has been battle tested and tried. He hasn't been built up. He's been developed. And this is his time to shine. And he said yes when a lot of people said no. So when Isaac Cruz said no, and Kambosos said no, and Jojo Diaz said no, and Zepeda said no, De Los Santos say, yay, I want some of that. Shakur, my friend. De Los Santos say, I want some of that. But a lot of people said no, and Frank Martin says yes. And before, in the midnight hour, before we was getting ready to go to purse bid, these two got together. These two men got together. And if you look at it, it's been a little bit of trash talking, but it ain't been toxic. It ain't been crazy. You know what I'm saying? But everybody is tuned in and locked in, ready to see this fight. Why? Because it wasn't much jaw jacking. It wasn't a whole lot of juicy salaciousness. Your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your aunt, the cat, the dog, the rat, the roaches. It was none of that. They both said they wanted to see each other. Shakur said no to Devin's 25%, whatever that may be, or whatever that means, however you want to finagle it, whatever that represents to you. He says no. He says, I'm going to go to the WBC, let them dictate it. Devin was like, I don't even know if Tank was out of jail yet, and Devin was already on the phone with Eddie. Like, Eddie, man, you got to do something, man. He just happened to have Regis, which was a good move. So salute to Dev for that. But it was looking real crazy, and these two young men say, hey, I'm going to get it on. So they're going to have to fight each other. They're both a name. It's for an established belt. It's not going to be a one and done where I fight one time and I get all these belts. Nope. This is the beginning of a stone collection. Who's going to grab the stone? Is it going to be Frank Martin or Shakur Stevenson? But again, I say that this is 135-pound division, starting with the WBC, who started franchising and doing all this stuff that got people divided. They're actually restoring order by these two coming to an agreement and getting it on for the green strap. And this is what boxing needs right now. Boxing 135 was chaotic. You know what I'm saying? Everybody looking at the money, man, waiting to see, who he gonna choose and what he gonna do. That's what everybody doing. You know what I'm saying right now. Rumors is that it's supposed to be Isaac Cruz. I know Coach Calvin was saying that for a while. That's who it was going to be. That's what the masses are saying. That's what that's what the rumblings are. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going on. So these two gentlemen getting in the ring are going to establish the first piece to get all of those belts. This is the beginning. This is the tip of the iceberg for 135 having order. It's lawless right now. This brings order back into the division by these two getting it on. A lot of people are already divided. A lot of people are already trying to make it a Bud versus Spence thing. Like, man, don't make this one as toxic as the conversation between that and the Fury, up there with the Fury Wilder. It's up there with the way George Kambosos and Devin Haney was. Don't make this one as toxic, man. It's two young champions with skill sets, high boxing IQs, athleticism. Both are defensive oriented. Frank is perceived to having more power. Shakur is perceived as being laser-like focused and accurate with his punches. Cat-like reflexes. Very hard to hit. I think him and Bivol, they go back and forth as far as who's best defensively right now. But you can make an argument for either one of them. And surprisingly enough, Bubba Andrade is up there as well. Even though people would like to see him more active, but his name is up there as well. But when you're talking about defensive fighters, you're talking about Shakur Stevenson, who I call the definition. He is the definition of hit and not get hit. That's why I call him the definition. On the other side, you got Frank Martin, who is the ghost. Frank Martin, I might have underestimated Frank Martin against Rivera, and he showed me something that he can make adjustments, but that's nothing new for Frank. Frank's been showing us that he can make adjustments all throughout the career. He fought Jackson Marinez, who arguably beat Roley in convincing fashion, then went on to get knocked out by Comey. Frank Martin, he fought the same dude that Ryan fought, Romero Duno. He's been getting his knockouts. He's a avid body puncher. I think that's going to be one of the keys to success, to actually trying to get with Shakur, or to slow Shakur down or give him something to think about. You're going to have to go to that body. You're going to have to take risks. But Frank Martin has the tools. Frank Martin has the tools. He's a little bit more mature than a lot of these guys. You know, some people was trying to knock him for it. I like it. You know what I'm saying? I like fighters like Frank Martin because he's a straight shooter. He don't do a whole lot of cat. When he seen Keyshawn, he ran up and said, "Hey man, I don't do all that, man. We can get it on." You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, we about to get it. He about to get it on with Shakur. And Earl had put it out and said, "Hey, nah, man, you know that Keyshawn talk, whatever, you know, nah, we want the big homie." And they got the big homie. They got Shakur Stevenson. You know, I think it's healthy. You know, I'm looking forward to this fight, man. I'm looking forward to be like a whole new era where boxers say they want to fight. They don't go to social media and do it. Yes, they can get built up. Yes, it can be some back and forth. But I'm looking for when your words are your words. You stand on what you say you're going to do, and you carry out and do it. There's a lot of people that's going to try. I had to come get on here and do this right now because I got a new set of flip-flops coming out. You know, I got a new set of flip-flops. Have you ever seen reversible flip-flops, man? You can get two of your favorite fighters. You know, you can get two opposite. You can get whatever you want on one side, and the other. You can transpose them, but you can flip them inside out because there's a lot of people flip-flopping right now, man. A lot of people just be flipping and flopping. A lot of people, man, it's some serious boxing people. There's some coaches out here where you think you're going to sit down and see an interview with a coach, you're going to get some real information. They're scared to actually say how they really feel now. I mean, boxing, man, and this cancel culture and not being able to say how you feel and picking this fighter over that fighter, man, it's getting way too serious. It's getting way too deep. People are going overboard, man. And remember, the loudest voice on something or at all times isn't always the most important. Think about that. The loudest ones, but right now, the loudest voices are ruining the boxing conversations right now. I liked it when it was old school. Who had the better jab? Who had the better defense? Who got the better chin? If you saw something in your fighter, you could be like, "Oh man, yeah, I like this, but he got to work on that." And nobody was like, "Oh my gosh, you made a harsh criticism of my favorite fighter. I'm gonna get you dealt with." It's just funny right now, man. It's just a funny time, man. So I got to salute, man. I got to get out ahead of it. I was out ahead of it when I wanted to see De Los Santos and Shakur. I wanted to see it. That was last year. I think it was around November, December time frame. I was actually wanting to see that fight. You know, I knew that Yoshino, I knew that he was tailor-made for him, but he had history of beating Nakatani. And believe it or not, all of these boxers, the people that's in their corner and the people that have them on the trajectory have a plan. Whether that coincides with the average boxing fan or not, that's a totally different subject. But we have people having whole conversations, debates, arguments, you know, riots pretty much, because they got the loudest voice and they can just put out something and get everybody to run with it like that. It's just not, it's not cool. One minute we understand the business, the next minute we don't. 1 minute, it's the business of boxing. Next thing you know, One day it's all about belts, the next one it don't. I don't hear nobody campaigning for O'Hara Davies right now. I don't hear nobody campaigning for him to get his shot at Rolly. And we gotta think, Rolly went got that belt coming off a knockout loss to Tank. And it was a lot of time in between that fight. He got the controversial stoppage against the old man. Everybody was joking around saying, the older gentleman, was piecing him up, dropped him. He got that belt. So 1 minute belts matter. It's like, okay, well, Rolly got a belt. Why ain't nobody running up on Rolly to try to get a belt? Oh, Harry Davies, a guy who worked his way up, he is barking up there. He's wanting his shot. He wanting to get his shot. He's saying, no, I want it. That's in limbo. Rolly got an extension. And I like Rolly. Rolly, man, I mean, not as a boxer per se, but I like Rolly, man. Rolly is a character, Rolly is smart. Rolly is very smart. Don't let him fool you. But when we talk about belts and whether or not they matter, it depends. Sometimes you gotta be able to say, you know what? It kind of depends on whether or not, okay, in what sense? You gotta be responsible when you're talking about these belts, because you can always come up, and you're always gonna have that person that's gonna play the devil's advocate. No matter what you say or whatever you campaign for the sake of arguing, they're gonna be on the other side, just blurting out and coming up with examples. But tomorrow they're gonna be wrong when you use their same examples against them, or if you use them same examples when you talk about other fighters, it don't apply. It's just like the whole when everybody was running around saying, "Oh man, Bud, he's a man without a land. He can't do this and this and that." Well, Devin is a man without a land. He's a man without a land. So a lot of those things, all of the things that everybody berated Bud for when he was a man without a land and he didn't have a network and he wasn't signed to nobody and he was trying to do his own thing, that's Devin right now as we speak. He working with Eddie. He went back, I guess he wanted that old thing back. How Eddie used to give it up. I think Eddie learned some lessons. He got a killer over there in Richardson Hitchens who about to have Jose Zepeda coming up, and I got something coming out on that, man. I call him the Rain Man. That dude, man, he's been developed as well. He's in the 140 division. 140 is hot, but we talking about 135. I just think that one of the concerns about Frank is I know he's very vascular, and I really think Frank is a 140 pounder. I do. Even though he's a little shorter than the average 140 pounder, which you would think that height would be for a 140, I think that 140 is his right division. I think Tank's right division is 140. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can imagine all these fighters where they don't really got to suck down weight, they, they more closer to their walk around weight. All they got to do is maybe knock down a couple pounds, chisel up, like whatever, and how they walk around is pretty much how they going to get. That's what I think is probably best. Not having to drain yourself. So I seen some images. I seen some videos of Frank, going into that last fight. And I think that eventually, that's why I'm glad he's getting it on now, because Frank is mature. Glad he's getting it on now. You know what I'm saying? And he's fighting that guy who a lot of people is calling the boogeyman. I mean, Shakur could stake a claim as being a boogeyman. He really could. Anytime you get a man that say, I don't want no, and go to a high, like, anytime you do that, yeah, you might be somewhat of a boogeyman. But it depends on who you're talking to or who you're talking about. There's a lot of people that could be boogeymen over there and boogeyman over there, but then somebody else is their boogeyman. So in boxing, you always got to say in what aspect, because everybody's operating in a lot of extremes. A lot of people like to operate in a lot of absolutes. Or it's absolutely this. You know what I'm saying? Just like when you're trying to learn something or somebody trying to teach you something, and everything that they tell you or everything that they say, they actually have a God complex about it, and that everything they say is absolutely right. Ultra fact, super duper artifact. Like, no, stop it. That's the problem with the world today. Everybody don't know everything. We're not rational in our speaks. We're not rational in our talk. And out here in society, regular people don't like the truth. What makes boxing fans any different? Any different? So I wanted to get out in front of this. I wanted to talk about this fight. I wanted to actually do live. I'm actually going to start doing some more lives. Got to start doing some more lives and just being available for the smoke. Because every now and again, somebody drop off in the comments and say something You know what I'm saying? That say something that they shouldn't say. You know, and then I used to make myself available. Nobody would come and say what they gotta say. Nobody would actually have, you know what I'm saying? This is not one of them places where, you know, you're gonna get shut down, you're gonna get muted, we're gonna talk it out. You know what I'm saying? But remember, I do that body work. I do that body work. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be able to take a couple of them because, you know, everybody, first time somebody get in the fight or somebody want to sneak somebody, first thing they doing is going for the head, going for that one-hitter quitter. Nope, I'm going straight to that body. And if you survive that, I'm going back to the other side. Then I'm coming back to the other side. It's just gonna be nothing but body shot. So by the time I fake like I'm going to the body and I go upstairs, it's over. It's over. You know, I think that a lot of the slander that happened with Shakur Stevenson, he didn't really deserve it. You know, some of the things that's going on with a lot of these fighters is that they're young, they're maturing, they got a lot of money, they got a lot of fame. And I know in my era, like, shoot, we didn't really have it at our disposal like that. We didn't have social media at our disposal like that. You got to kind of get used to, and it's a new culture where that's what happens in boxing right now. You know, and I know that, shoot, when I was in the Army, you know, and I was maturing, I used to do a lot of silly, stupid things. I was like, when it came to the uniform, I was a soldier, a sergeant, through and through. My problem was afterward. You know, so I couldn't imagine having millions of dollars, you know, in a sport like that where you gotta have some alpha. You gotta be on edge. You know, every day you looking at somebody that want to touch your chin. You know what I'm saying? Somebody think that everywhere you go, somebody signs you up. So I get the edge. I get that you as just like the young adders, man, they spit too much venom. I get it. They spit too much venom sometimes. But at the same time, man, they all maturing, man. And some of them really want that smoke. Some of them really want that smoke. Some of them are privileged to be able to get into certain positions. You know, through hard work, through relationships, however they got there. They've gotten to these positions. They get hit in the head for a living, and they are our entertainment. I think sometimes that we forget that they're supposed to enrich our lives. They're supposed to help our lives. They're supposed to give us something that, man, you see that, you know, they're supposed to inspire you. They're supposed to tell the youth, they're supposed to show and tell the youth that, hey, man, you ain't always got to go pick up something and go do this and go do that. Maybe you could just put them gloves on and go around back. Go behind the bullshit. Go behind the fire exit, you know what I'm saying, and put it down. That's what boxing is all about, but the conversation is far left, it's far right, it's who you with, it's a whole lot of tribalism in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Some of us just really care about what they do inside the ring. But if you watch them over time, you get to know them outside the ring and you realize that they all the same. Some of them might talk a little bit more, put a little bit extra on it. Some of them might just be straight shooters. Some of them might not have the kind of personality that's going to jump out and you're going to want to see them as a commentator or whatever after that. They just want to get in there and put down the ones and the twos. That's all they want to do. This is one of their fights. This is one of them fights. This is for the WBC vacant. And again, I don't believe Devin Haney's coming back down to 135. There are no indicators that he's coming back down, you know, to 135. He got big, as soon as he signed that contract and it's really, really official, and we hear something, because it's crazy how Shakur get all this blame and all this whatever, but then he comes right in and he got a Frank Martin right now. Like, I don't even know how long the negotiations were. To be honest, a couple weeks. And this is PBC and Top Rank. It seems like Shakur know how to communicate now, because I mean, how did that, somehow, some way, you know what I'm saying, he was able to get Frank Martin, who a PBC guy over there under Earl, he's able to get, you know what I'm saying, that guy over there, and they about to get it on Top Rank, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, slowly these excuses and the creme de la creme is rising to the top. The excuses are starting to be null and void. We pick and choose when we want to use the price yourself out tool. If it's a fighter you like, oh man, he ain't priced himself. Like, man, stop it, man. Stop it, man. A lot of people don't even, on their jobs, out here in the streets, out here going into the store, they don't even act like that. But they get into character when they get in the line. That's why every time I start my show, I say, welcome back. This is Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. Michael Rogers. It's not a character. So think about that, man. Think about that. Try to put some good energy out for these two young black brothers, the creme de la creme, fighting. Whether you believe who's gonna do what and how bad it's gonna be, try to not let this get you to a level of toxicity that's going to perpetuate the Bud Spence stuff, man. These are two different fighters, two different circumstances, two different careers. They making their bones and they are establishing a legacy. Shakur already silver medal, championship belt at 126, unified at 130, had a snafu, didn't make the weight, came up to 135, introduced himself, did whatever he needed to do. He's up there in the rankings. He's in a position to fight for a belt. Frank Martin has been battle tested, ran through PBC, different styles, and this, this matchup, that match. He's always come through. Always come through. Awkward boxer, he's been developed. So this is a very interesting fight. I still got to do my tail of the tape. I still got to do my CompuBox things. I got an episode coming with, according to my old head, with my old head K. And we're going to talk about it. He's very excited about this fight. And this is part of the freedom frenzy that I said would happen at 135, which is going to restore order. Now when everybody have to go and they have to earn these belts, and they have to to have to go by and fight this one and, build this up, and then this champion fight this champion. Now the new way and the way that, this division should be solidified, this is the first step in that. This is the tip of the iceberg. I wasn't going to keep you long, man. I just wanted to come on here and say, man, salute to them guys, man. Put out some positive energy about this, man, and actually just talk to everybody, man. Think about what Charles Barkley said, man. He said he rubbed elbows with a lot of people, man. And he would ask them, hey, man, is this what you're going to talk about? Like, yeah, I'm going to talk about it. He's like, but you don't really believe that, right? He's like, no, I don't believe that. But these fools going to call in and argue all day. They're going to pay you to argue with you about something that ain't true. And then when you add fuel to the fire and you agitate it even more, they're going to pay you again to get out there and say it again. The long con, man. Hey, by any means, man. However you got to get it, man. Whatever you got to do. If you got to come off as oh my God, like you got to come off like G.I. Joe, Rambo, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all of them, Terminator and all that, wrapped all in one. Whatever you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you hear me talk about boxing, because it keeps me out of trouble. It keeps me inside, man. It keeps me, focused, entertained. I learned something about the science, and I'm addicted to boxing, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a hardcore boxing fan. I was a casual when I was a hardcore football fan. I seen a lot of things in that. I'm still an Eagles guy. You know what I'm saying? It's tattered on the shoulder. But I fell in love with boxing at some point, and as hard as it may be, I still hang in there. There be some time when I'm like, man, the conversation surrounding it, because everybody want to turn this into the Breakfast Club or TMZ. I was watching the Sean Porter with Mama's Boy on there, and he was just like, man, man, boxing is becoming a soap opera. He was like, and it's lit. And I'm like, dang, it gave me a whole new perspective, because he's a boxer. So he think that the soap opera is like lit. It's what got boxing going like that. And I gotta respect what he says, because he actually get hit in the head for a living. You know what I'm saying? I might get up on rooftops and climb ladders and deal with electricity and amps and all that, but he get hit in the head for a living. So I gotta respect what he say. I'm like, man, I want less of the soap opera unless it's really organic. I want less of the soap opera and more of the inside of the ring stuff. That's just what I want. But this is how boxers are seeing it. So if we don't adjust and adapt to the times and start picking up on what's going on, we'll become dinosaurs. Anyways, I didn't have much for you. You know what I'm saying? That's all I really wanted to talk about. You know, what do you think about this fight coming up? You think about this fight coming up? I welcome all feedback, all comments. I don't do yes men over here. You know what I'm saying? Feel free to disagree, but just know what you're talking about. Don't be an echo chamber. Don't be one of them people that just gonna go along because you like this or you fear backlash. I got so many people saying that, scared to say that Canelo might lose. His last 3 fights, he didn't look that good. Jermell Charlo was hungry. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's faster. He just didn't fight at that weight. But people are acting like, oh my God, it's just impossible for Jermell Charlo to win. And Canelo just gonna go in there and breathe on him and he gonna lay down. I beg to differ. But you got people actually scared to say that Canelo might lose. Did Bivol not show us anything? Even in loss, did John Ryder not show us anything? Just have an open mind when you talk about boxing. Anyways, thanks for everybody tuning in. Everybody work boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.